In episode 7, Isaac and the WLF are gearing up for a big attack. There's just one problem. Abby and most of her crew are missing. Elise starts telling Isaac this, and Isaac gets really concerned, and Elise can't quite figure out why Isaac cares so much about Ellie. And that's when he has to sit her down and say, look, what we're doing tonight, there's a pretty good chance you're going to die. And there's an even better chance I die. And if that happens, who leads those guys out there? Because despite their badass name, they're sheep. They need a leader. And that was supposed to be Abby. So that's why we need Abby. Of course, they aren't the only ones searching for Abby. So is Ellie. And after dealing with Nora, she heads back to the theater. Dina was recovering from her injury. Jesse just had to rip the damn thing out, but she's going to survive. And as soon as Ellie arrives, she goes to check on her. Both Dina and Jesse were really concerned about where Ellie went. She didn't tell anybody. But now that it's just the two of them, Ellie tells Dina everything. She tells her that she went after Nora. She basically forced her to talk. She only said 2 words, wheel and whale. She has no idea what that means. And then she left her, but she essentially left her for dead. She then reveals her big secret to Dina. The reason why Abby and her crew came after Joel. The whole story with Salt Lake City, how Joel slaughtered Abby's father and all the doctors that wanted to operate on her, all of that. Dina does ask her, did you know this when they killed Joel? But she says, no, I didn't. And it's a lot for Dina to process, so she just tells Ellie, we got to get home. And the next day, that's what they plan to do. Jesse and Ellie start packing up because they have to go meet Tommy at the rendezvous point, which is going to be a bookstore. And while they do that, Dina's going to stay in the theater because she's in no shape really to go anywhere. Jesse, though, continues to give Ellie a lot of attitude. It's pretty clear he's not happy with her. And as they make their way through the streets of Seattle, he finally stops her and says, look, last night, Dina said she couldn't die. Not that she didn't want to die, she couldn't die. And then she didn't take alcohol when I offered it to her. I mean, when have you ever known her to not take a drink? Now, something's up. And Ellie, who obviously knows what's up, plays dumb. But Jesse goes on. He says, I see the way that you guys look at each other. I'm not dumb. I bet you she tells you things that she wouldn't tell me, like she's pregnant. And after a few seconds, Ellie just says, damn it, which admits to the fact that, yes, Dina is pregnant. And that's something that Jesse didn't actually know. And Ellie starts trying to tell him, hey, nothing's going to change between us. But he cuts her off and says, okay, how about this? I'm going to be a father, which means that I can't die. But because of you, we're in a war zone. So how about we skip the apologies and we just get me and my kid out of here, okay? And they continue walking through the streets. As they do so, they see another mural that says feel her love, but this time there's another woman depicted. Ellie actually mentions the fact that there's another one? And Jesse says, yeah, I guess so, but he's not really preoccupied with it. He just wants to get to the bookstore. And after a little bit of a walk, they're not too far away when they hear gunshots and they hide. The gunshots, though, weren't directed at them. The gunshots were from the WLF, and they were chasing a Scar. And as Jesse and Ellie hide, they're watching this Scar all by himself. A teenage boy gets surrounded by WLF members and assaulted, stripped down, and taken away. And while this was going on, Ellie wanted to go after him. Ellie wanted to help this kid. Maybe Ellie saw herself in this kid, alone, needing a savior. Either way, Jesse continued to stop her, saying, no, don't. And even after the kid was taken away, Ellie decides, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go save this person. And Jesse once again stops her, trying to talk reason into her and reminding her, there are 6 of them, there are 2 of us. Ellie fights back and reminds him that that person is just a kid, he needs help, but Jesse says, I'm not dying out here. Not for a war that I'm not fighting. They're shooting each other, they're killing each other, but they're not after us. We need to get out of here. This isn't our war, so come on. And they continue on to the bookstore. They do arrive a little while later, and Tommy's not there yet. They figure they'll just post up shop, wait for him to arrive. And while they do so, they decide to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Dina being pregnant. Jesse tells Ellie that he does love Dina, but maybe not the way that Ellie loves Dina. He goes on to tell a story about how this traveling group from Alberta came through, and he fell in love with one of the girls, and he was ready to go and run off. I mean, there was a big part of him that wanted to run off with this girl and live his life with this girl, but he didn't because of the fact that he needed to be with the community of Jackson. Jackson took him in, and he's looked at as the heir apparent of running Jackson. So he basically put his needs aside for the community. That's his message to Ellie. You need to put your needs aside for the betterment of the community. But before she can tell him to pound sand, they hear on the radio that there is gunshots from a sniper. And they know that that's not a WLF member, that must be Tommy. They hear where the gunshots are coming from. Jesse looks at the map, and they figure out where Tommy's located. Now it's just a matter of seeing how far that is in terms of eyesight. So they head up to the roof, they look around, and Jesse locates the building where the gunshots are coming from, where he thinks that Tommy is located. But something else caught Ellie's attention. It was a Ferris wheel. A Ferris wheel located right next to an aquarium. And suddenly, Nora's last comments, whale, they make a lot of sense. She's now convinced that Abby is in the aquarium. And she doesn't really care about Tommy. She wants to go after Abby. But when she brings this up to Jesse, Jesse reminds her, we need to get Tommy. And this starts a giant fight. Ellie telling Jesse that this is what Tommy would want. Jesse telling her that while Tommy's fine now, the WLF called for backup and it's only a matter of time before he's surrounded. They need to go help him. But when Ellie says, you were 3 votes away from following me, Jesse drops a bombshell on her and says, no, I wasn't. I voted against going because it's not what's best for the community. And Ellie loses it. She starts screaming at Jesse, my community was murdered in front of me and I had to watch. So screw you and your community. And the two go their separate ways. For Ellie, she knows she needs to get a boat. That's the only way to get to the aquarium in time. So she heads down to the marina. She arrives at night. But while she's heading to the dock, she sees 2 people on the dock. She lifts up her gun. She's about to shoot them. And then she sees that a ship is coming. But it's not just one ship. It's a full-on armada. I mean, I'm talking 7 ships. All coming to the dock to pick up supplies. And they're led by Isaac. That mission that he was talking about, well, it's going down that night. Ellie, however, she just lays low until they all leave. She grabs the last remaining boat, and she heads off to the aquarium. The one issue is the boat isn't very big, and the sea is choppy as hell because there's a storm going on, and it's not long until a giant wave knocks her out of the boat, and she washes up on shore to a local island, where as she's trying to get her bearings together, she sees a young Scar boy just standing there. And he alerts adults to the fact that they have company, and within minutes, Ellie is being dragged into the woods to be hanged and killed. And it's ironic for Ellie because she was ready to save a Scar boy just hours earlier, and here she is being sentenced to death, even though she's telling them, I'm not WLF. They don't care. I mean, even the little boy gives the order to kill her. So they hang her up. And Ellie would have died had it not been for an alert that the town that all the Scars are living in is under attack. So they drop Ellie, and they run to go help their fellow Scars. And that attack obviously is being orchestrated by Isaac and his group. Now with Ellie in the clear, she goes back to the shore, she grabs her boat, flips it on the right side, and she heads right back to the aquarium. She's able to get inside, and she starts creeping around corners looking for Abby, and she doesn't find Abby. But what she does find is Mel and Owen. And they're in the middle of an argument where Mel doesn't want Owen to do whatever he's planning on doing. And for Ellie, she eavesdrops on the conversation, and she hears the name Abby. It's obvious that Owen and Mel know exactly where Abby is. So Ellie pops up out of the corner. Immediately, Owen recognizes her. He tries to curry favor by reminding her, hey, I saved you. I let you live. But Ellie doesn't care. She demands to know where Abby is, and both Owen and Mel claim that they don't know. Ellie calls them out on that lie, saying, you do. You were just talking about her. So I want you to bring that map over here. I want you to point to where she is. And then I want you to come over here. And you're going to point. And it better match up. For Owen, he encourages Mel not to do it, saying she's just going to kill us anyway. But Ellie yells back, no, I'm not, because I'm different than you. Now, let's go. Bring the map over here. You've got 5 seconds. But that's when Owen reaches for a gun. Ellie instinctively fires a shot off, and it hits Owen in the neck, killing him instantly, but it also hits Mel. Now, it's not a direct shot, but she drops to the floor, and she's bleeding out. That's when Ellie notices exactly what she just did. She fired a shot, and she hit a pregnant woman. And Mel begs Ellie to cut the baby out of her, saving her child. But this is a lot for Ellie, and she doesn't know how to do that. And Mel says, no, I'll talk you through it. But Mel's only got about 30 seconds, and before Ellie can actually plunge the knife into her, Mel's dead. And that's when Ellie breaks down. Because Ellie never meant to kill somebody that she didn't deem was worthy of it. And for Mel, she didn't do anything to deserve this. And the child definitely didn't do anything to deserve this. So for Ellie, she just sits there beating herself up until eventually she's actually found by Tommy. Tommy sees the aftermath of everything that happened, and he picks up Ellie and he brings her back to the theater. It's clear that when Ellie gets back, she's still shook from exactly what she did. For the group, though, they're planning on leaving back for Jackson the next day. Tommy and Jesse sit down, they map it out, and that's when Ellie has a seat right near them, and Tommy can see that she is visibly still upset about what she did, and Tommy tries to make her feel better, telling her, hey, they got what was coming to them. They knew the life they chose, that kind of thing. But for Ellie, she's still not happy about it. She still blames herself, and it was something that she's going to live with for the rest of her life, killing a pregnant woman. Tommy decides to leave both Jesse and Ellie alone and go pack some more supplies, and that gives Jesse and Ellie a chance to just kind of bury the hatchet a little bit. Jesse reveals that he decided to go back for Ellie because what he realized was that if he was out there, Ellie would move heaven and earth to save him. And it's true, she would. But as they're patching up their relationship, they hear a commotion outside, and they rush to go see what it is. Jesse's the first one through the door, and he's shot immediately and killed. That's when Ellie, who is hiding at this point, hears Abby's voice yelling, "Get up, get up." And she's got Tommy on the ground at gunpoint. And Tommy tells Ellie, no, just run. But Ellie's not about to let Tommy die. Ellie stands up, realizing that Abby came here for her, and she says, hey, don't kill him. Don't kill him. You came here for me. I'm the one who killed your friends, not him. I was looking for you, and I did it. And for Abby, she is shocked. She never expected to see Ellie again, and she immediately recognizes her. She tells her, I let you live. I let you live, and this is what you did? As Ellie continues to beg for Tommy's life and for Tommy to be spared, Abby points the gun right at her and shoots her. But this is actually going to end with Seattle day one again, from Abby's perspective. She wakes up in the Seahawks stadium. That's where the WLF is located and headquartered, and you see just how big of an operation they have. I mean, it is a full-on army.
Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.